Welcome back, everybody. In this video, I'm going to be going over a question that I saw on the metrology subreddit. And the question was posed by someone who had an engineer approach them and say, hey, this is the design intent that I want. Is this legal? And the design intent was that they wanted to have two holes, and they wanted to keep the axes of those two holes parallel to datum feature A. And they had proposed a parallelism directly controlling the two axes to datum feature A. So the first question, is this legal? And the answer is no, you can't directly control two axes like this. But we should be able to communicate this design intent somehow. So how would we do that? And I came up with three ways. And the last way is less of an assertion that this is a good way to do it, and almost more of a question to the community to see, what do you think about this and how would you approach it differently? So option one, which many people had suggested on the original post, is to use a simple composite positional tolerance. The upper segment, it would give you a tolerance zone that would locate the features relative to the rest of the part and would allow those holes to sort of party around independently within those larger positional tolerance zones. The lower segment draws two smaller positional tolerance zones, which are locked together by a distance, which would be defined by a basic dimension that is not shown on this drawing. And those two tolerance zones must stay with each other, oriented correctly to datum feature A. So effectively, you would have these two tolerance zones that are able to move within the larger tolerance zones. However, the distance and orientation to datum feature A is controlled. And this would be good if you had a set of holes that needed to be correctly distanced relative to one another. But what if you don't need those two holes to be distanced some specific amount to one another? So that is where a bidirectional composite position tolerance zone comes in handy. So instead of defining in 2D space a circular tolerance zone within which each hole must stay within, we're defining two basically sets of planes to constrain those holes to the part. And in this case, it's creating a set of square tolerance zones within which, again, the holes can independently move around within. But this is not controlling that parallelism that the poster wants. So that's what the lower segment on the horizontal component is controlling. It creates a band of the parallelism distance that we want, and it constrains those two features to each other in that horizontal axis, or in that vertical axis, I should say, but still allows for that horizontal movement. So option three that I'm proposing controls the features in much the same way as the previous option, but kind of just worse. So it's kind of why I'm proposing this more as a question to folks who have more experience with irregular features of size than I do. But this option three is to treat the two holes as an irregular feature of size. And just to get the definition out there, there's two types of irregular features of size. This is type A, and the definition of type A is that it's a directly toleranced feature or collection of features that may be contained by an actual mating envelope that is a sphere, cylinder, or set of parallel planes. So these two holes could be contained by a set of parallel planes, and then we could apply a parallelism tolerance to the midplane of these two actual mating envelope planes. And what would this look like? Well, I think it would look almost exactly like what the poster had requested, which is that it would control the parallelism of the axes of these two holes, and they would be able to move around completely horizontally independently of one another. But this has a few little weird elements to it. If you treat this pattern of holes that way, there is nothing controlling the form. So would you then apply a size tolerance to these holes? Because now you're kind of double dimensioning it. And then the other thing that happens is that there's nothing controlling these holes from falling off the part or colliding with one another. So do you now add a positional tolerance to that hole size tolerance? It's just starting to get kind of hokey and weird. And you might say, well, why don't you just do that top option and then come in and apply the parallelism tolerance to a reference dimension? And the reason is this directly toleranced component of the definition. So you must directly tolerance the actual mating envelope. Otherwise, I don't think it's correct. And correct me if I'm wrong, there's not a lot of examples of this in the standard, and there's not a lot of information online. So I'm more than happy to hear other people's opinions on this. Anyways, I hope this was helpful for the original poster, and I hope other people got something out of it. Have a good one.